Good morning, everyone. Thank you specifically for Texan by Nature for organizing the time to host this particular symposium at the beautiful Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. And Mrs. Bush, thank you again for your engagement and personal interest in not only monarchs but pollinators. Fish and Wildlife Service's mission is to work with others to conserve, protect, and enhance fish, wildlife, plants, and their habitats for the continuing benefit of American public. In 2014, the service was petitioned to list the monarch butterfly as a threatened species. Now, our mission is not just to list species on the endangered species list. In fact, if that happens, we've failed. However, one of the things and the many benefits of the Endangered Species Act is that it can bring us together to keep species off the list. As you've heard, the monarch butterfly is in trouble, and there's no doubt about that with the eastern population about an 80% decline. But as you will see from presentations over the next 2 days, there are many factors that are involved with this decline. And as Ben has mentioned, that presents a challenge for all of us to finish that story. But I think there's some good news, because in the next couple of years, with all of the interest, restoration, enhancement work going on, I think we will be able to see that increase in that population and will help us as we move through a species status assessment over the next 2 years to see just what is happening with that species. A recent study by the U.S. Geological Survey estimated that we need an additional 1.8 billion stems of milkweed to help restore that population level by 2020 to 225 million monarchs. Now, of course, all those stems need to coincide with other nectar and flowering producing plants. Strategic conservation planning is occurring on a tri-national level between Mexico, Canada, and the U.S., working with various state agencies such as Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, universities such as the University of Texas at San Antonio, NGO groups, Monarch Joint Venture, National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and even private businesses like Monsanto. I think we are all working together, and our combined resources, whether or not we are working with agricultural sectors, urban centers, suburban developments, transportation, power, gas line right-of-ways, all of these areas will be very helpful in bringing about an increase in that population. The government can't and shouldn't do it alone. It's going to take an all-hands-on-deck approach. While these audiences may differ on many things, they can all agree that we need to ensure a future filled with monarchs. But it's not just monarchs. As you've heard, many other species are benefiting. Many other pollinators, many other nesting birds are benefiting. And I think people such as Xerces Society, Pheasants and Quail Forever, they've already realized that there's some great benefit working together under the Monarch banner. We can all work together, but that's going to be a challenge. But there's also great opportunity. As we kick off this symposium, there's 2 things uniquely that connect this region to the monarch butterfly. First is monarchs, as you've heard, flying northward from their overwintering time in Mexico. Texas and Oklahoma are the first U.S. states that provide critical resources necessary for that early spring breeding period. That super generation that has withstood the long winter in Mexico now is requiring abundant milkweed. And in order to successfully begin that second generation of the new year. In the fall, as we know, as that super generation is heading back south, Texas and Oklahoma, again, are in key spots to provide important nectar-producing sources of plants for that migration. Second, Texas is home to 6 of the 20th largest cities in the entire United States. Those booming urban centers provide distinct opportunities for monarch conservation and education. They can serve to connect tremendous amounts of people with nature, despite being in a metropolitan surrounding. As you've heard, many campuses, many buildings are also starting to provide that critical habitat for pollinators that will be really beneficial to monarchs. So with coordination and collaboration towards a South Central monarch conservation strategy, I believe we can enhance and create habitat for the monarchs and other pollinators. And I think it's really going to be important to have it starting here in Texas and Oklahoma. Got to remember, over the next 2 days, we're going to be hearing a lot of things about what we can do to make that challenge come to fruition. We all want to see that we complete that story that Ben has just woven in our minds so that it is a successful ending for future generations to enjoy monarchs and many other pollinators. So with that, I wish the best to all of you throughout the symposium, and thank you for your participation.